My interior mother demanded I hand over my house to her because my little sister is pregnant and needs it more than me. I 31-meter heavy sister 28 F that was honestly been the golden child to my mother but not my father for as long as. I can remember my parents divorced when I was a teenager because my mother cheated with an old high school ex boyfriend and has always been controlling, manipulative, and narcissistic, and sadly my sister was like her little mini-me. Our mother also seemed to believe she had total authority over me anytime she so much as snapped her finger. She snapped them and ordered me around like a dog. It was demanding and my sister always backed her up too. So no surprise I went to live with my dad full time after our parents split while my sister stayed with mom. The two of them were very alike and both pretty much stopped speaking with my father unless it was about my money. Though I'm more like my dad, my father was very business oriented and started teaching me how to do his line of work as soon as I was 16. I got pretty good at it, and after 12 years of working for my father, I made a partner in his company. Things were great, but then about 8 months ago, tragedy struck my father and became somewhat immunocompromised due to being a heavy smoker for much of his life. Dead in 60 years old after he caught C19. He met my mother and sister for the first time in years after we had a social distanced funeral for my father over video call. My father was cremated by his own request and buried in a local cemetery, so there was no body or casket. My sister seemed to grieve, but my mother looked indifferent the entire time enough. Though I honestly was not surprised the last time she saw my father, she screamed at him that he owed her any more money and then threatened to sue him, to which he just laughed at her. He paid all money and child support as long as he was legally maintained to, and no more than that. He even put 30K toward my sister college found that 10 years after the divorce he was no longer legally required to send mom money anymore because of the judge ruling, and she by no means broke. She in the same job as she was here for nearly 3 decades, fully owns the old family home used to share, and even rents out 2 of the rooms in it to Airbnb. Regularly she is by no means hurting for months, sometimes after the funeral my dad's what's it apparently. He would figure that if his heavy smoking did not eventually do him in, something else would, and even joked about in a pre-recorded video. He was pretty much while nearly all of his assets for most of his money to his business and home. He left my sister a car 2015 Nissan Altima and about 10K in cash. My mother only got on green and a few other items that she would be claiming were at fully her sins. The divorce beyond that I got the rest, and my girlfriend now lives with me in the house my father passed down to me and my sister pretty much went from finishing 2 years of community college to living off her boyfriend and only working part-time online for several years. And during that time she got pregnant but suffered a traumatic miscarriage. I was not aware till after the funeral because he were practically no contact. No one else told me when lockdown hit. Their boyfriend's job started downsizing little by little, and eventually he was only able to stay on part-time, which hampered hers in his finances to the point he was finally telling her she needed to look up for better employment as well, since he was trying to find a second job. Then she got pregnant. She claims her and her BF. They are careful but calls it her miracle. Maybe one evening I got an unexpected knock at my door, and when I answered I was unpleasantly greeted. My mother and sister, they both walked right in without even asking and made themselves comfortable in my living room, my girlfriend. And I shared a look of confession, and I asked why they would come by. My sister was giggling and looking all over, opening doors and seeming me giving herself a tour of my home. My mother had just slopped herself down on my sofa and snapped her fingers while demanding a cold bottle of water. My GF got the water for her, and I asked that what they were here for. My sister seemed all greedy and just ignored me to continue shopping on my home, and before long I heard her yell from down the hall, "Mommy." It's perfect, yes. She still calls her mommy. My mother finally spoke up and said, "Well, I think it's time to finally speak and said, "Well, I think time to reach your brotherly duty to watch," which I was like, "What?" My mother then proceeded, Among me, my mother finally spoke up and said, "Well, I think it's time to ditch your brother," due to which I was like, what my mother then proceeded to say, "Now what their father, your past this house should have gone to me since I was his only spouse, but you can still face this. You make plenty of money and could just buy a new house. Your sister needs this one so much more since she is that one with a baby on the way. But if you are so determined on staying, you could just keep to one room and cover all of the bills until you decided to move out my GF." And I read enough ready to know exactly where this is going. Where this is going and how it play out of let it go on. So I guess you could say we are mentally prepared. I took a deep breath and started aloud. "That's not happening. You don't order me around, especially not in my own goddamn home. Yes, I make plenty of money, but like that, I'm gonna save it for when I really need it. Not that you care." My mother started snapping her fingers at me like she used to and loudly stated at, "Stop, I am your mother and dad. And you will do as I say because I brought you into this world and I am the one in charge here. And as far as you are concerned, but I'm good. That means when I'm say jump, you say how high this house is rightfully mine. And your little sister, you live here, consider this your formal evictions. But since I'm gracious, I will give you 2 weeks to pack your bags and transfer the deed to me in the back of my mind and thinking this cannot be real. But then I just grabbed my cell phone and started dialing. My mother quickly stood up and yelled, "What are you doing?" I reiterated and doing what I should have done as soon as this started. "I'm calling the cops to get you out of my house." She started swiping at me and managed to knock my phone out of my hands. Then she proceeded to try and stomp on it, but I was quick enough to snatch it up before she could dare it. "If you don't leave, I will force you out myself." My mother proceeded to slap me across the face and returned the favor twice as hard, backhanded so much so I ended up knocking her back down onto the couch. She held her hand over the reddening and smelled like a face in the total shock and then yelled, "How dare you!" I went back to dialing on my phone and said that if she did not leave, I would have police come and remove her by force. My sister came breathing in between us, holding her arms out and saying that I should just do the right thing for once in my life and be a good being. But then I snapped and said, "Oh really? I'm the bad sibling. Last I checked, I was the one who had to work for a living since I was a teenager. I had to do all the chores in the house while you just sit on US planning video games and talking with your friends all day, and you used to steal my hard-earned money just to go out shopping after I spent all of your allowance. You are a complete moch, the thief, so I don't owe you. Now both of you get out before I decide to dial this last number." My sister started to tear up, crying like a baby. He said, "Mommy," making him stop. My mother began hugging her and kissing her cheeks while giving death glare. Then she seemed to think she would gotten smart and said, "If you do call the police, I can just tell them that you hit me, and who knows, I could maybe say to everyone you want to do a lot or to poor pregnant girl. I need to think that I would to be very good thing for you." I cut her off with a raised hand and said, "Just stop if you have not noticed my girlfriend. Warder has had her phone cut out recording almost this whole time, and that means we have recorded evidence of you assaulting me first and openly stating you would lie to police. I don't think that I'd be so good for reputation and your job of your little IR band. If looks could kill, my mother would have blew me up like a tactical nuke, but she quickly deflated and started dragging my crying sister out by the arm. My sister was somehow acting like a complete toddler and broke loose of our mother's grip to sit down on my porch step and have a tantrum. I just gave my mother a look and said, Do you see? Now this is the result of the spoiled way you raised her." She glared at me again, and then I treated to a show of my mother trying to drag my sister off my porch steps, but she latched onto Paul's handrails and kept saying, "You promised me," over and over again. I let out a cackle and told them both off from the door to never come back. My mother flipped me and barred when they went back to trying to drag my sister off the porch. It took a few minutes, but she finally got my sister to back up and live with her by saying I'm a cruel heartless bastard who will go to hell for this. He laughed some more and said that there's also a special place in hell for liars and narcissists who try to manipulate others to get their way. My mother clenched her fist and was about to say more when I just held up my smartphone, again with it recording, and said, the clock is ticking, mom, get off my property. My mother then walked my sister to the car, gave me one last snooty look and drove off. I thought it was the end of it, but letting things go was never something my mother would. After a few days, I started getting messages from people I know, and some relatives, and a lot of them were furious with me, but others just had questions about what was going on. I tried to check my FB but could not see anything they were saying because my sister and mother both blocked me on their social media, but my girlfriend could still see everything because they kept their profile set to open. We screenshotted everything and then printed some of it out. Both of their profiles had posts that called me a greedy, heartless bastard who stole the house that was meant to be my sister's inheritance right out from under her by paying off the lawyer who handled that will, which is a complete and utter lie. They both know it. I called my lawyer, who was also my father's lawyer, a trusted family friend, and gave him copies of all the screenshots from FB in the video my girlfriend had recorded that day. My mother demanded my house and he wanted to just write a formal CND. But I wanted to take it further than that. He sent them a letter. I told him to write a via express mail that had to sign offer. I know they got it. My mother called me in absolute fury the same day the letter was delivered. I told her that if she and my sister did not reject all of the untrue social media posts they made about me and tell me absolute truth, I would send me all of the information I have to the whole family, her boss, and upload the videos we recorded of her online, and then I would sue her on top of it. She called me unreasonable and that she just did what she did for my sister's sake, and then went into full-blown lecture detailing her belief that my sister still needs my house more than me, bluntly stated. I did not care what she thought, and if she did not reject everything and tell the truth, I would make sure her career would be over. She brilliantly said, fine, you will inhabit your way and keep in the house, before hanging up the phone. That very evening, all of the lying posts disappeared from both their profiles. I was unblocked. My mother gave me and everyone a half-assed apology, claiming she jumped the gun with everyone, she said, because she thought my sister needed my house more than me because she broke and pregnant, but she house was rightfully mine according to my father's will, and she needed even before my father passed away, so she had no right to try any claim it is for my sister. She also apologized, but more or less just spouted everything our mother said while claiming she just went along with her ideas, and then she blamed what she did all on her mother and her pregnancy hormones. The replies poured in for sometimes on both my mother and sister's profile, many furious with them for trying to take my house. I got a lot message of sorries my bears from those who would previously believed her, but all it really did was show me who was more on her side to begin with, since they were believing her nonsense so quickly. There were no still people from her side of the family anyway. No one on my father's side believed her at all. Openly said so. My sister and her boyfriend ended up moving in with her mother to save money, but she put them in the basement to keep her urban running, and my sister started crying on social media that she can't live upstairs, and I'm pretty sure the two of them were fighting with each other because all my sister did after that he complained online, and my mother barely posted anything on her SM anymore because of the previous stunt she tried.